Hi everyone, it's Kelly here. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time. Welcome back if you've been before. Lovely to have you either way. On this channel we talk books, and today I am giving you my TBR for the month of October. I've kept it pretty small. I've only got 4 books to talk to you about today, which I'm hoping to get to. Probably I will read more than 4 books in October because I have school holidays at the beginning of October. So usually during the holidays I manage to get a little bit more reading done than I do during term time, and that will make up for months where I'm not going to get to read as much because we're coming up to a report writing season here in Australia. I'm a school teacher, so I will be writing my reports sort of through November and into December. So I will be busy at those times. I may not get as much reading done in the month of November in particular. So October I want to get a little bit more done. However, I'm only going to put 4 books onto my TBR because these are the ones that I'm pretty confident that I can get through and that I do definitely want to read this particular month. So let's get started. The first one is called A Game for Swallows, To Die, To Leave, To Return by Zeina Abirached. So this is the book that I will be reading for my Around the World reading book club that I'm part of. This is a book from Lebanon, and it is a graphic novel, which I am really looking forward to reading and learning more about as I get started on it. So that is the first book that I'm hoping to read. Essentially, this is sort of the story of some children who they live in a part of, so there's a civil war happening in Lebanon, and it had been going at the time when Zeina was born. It had been going for 6 years. So it just is sort of like a normal part of life for her and her parents and little brother. So it says basically that the city is kind of cut off into a Christian section and a Muslim section, and it's dangerous to go between those 2 sections, but her parents do, and then they don't return. So this is a book about how her neighbors in the apartment block where she lives kind of create this world for her brother and her to help them feel safe and loved, which I just think is such a beautiful thing to do for neighbors to do. So I'm looking forward to reading about this and learning more about this story, which sounds like it's going to be really interesting. The second book that I want to read is part of my challenge where I'm reading the long list of the Miles Franklin Award for 2022. I am doing pretty well on that list, and I'm down to, I think, only 3 more books that I have to read. So I would like to get one of those done. The one that I've chosen for October, but I may switch it around depending on my mood, is 7.5 by Christos Tsiolkas. And I have heard mixed reviews about this book, so I'm not sure whether I'm going to come down on the side of thinking this book is genius, or if I'm going to come down on the side of what the heck is going on, which I think some people have kind of said in their reviews that it's just, have felt that it's a bit self-indulgent, or it's not as clever as it kind of appears to be to other people. So I don't know which side I'm going to come down on yet, but I'm going to take this with me on my trip to the beach. So and it's set it's basically a writer writing a book in a holiday beach house. So I figured this is going to be the one that's going to suit me the best to take with me on my holiday. So basically, a man arrives at a house on the coast to write a book. Separated from his lover and family and friends, he finds the solitude he craves in the pyrotechnic beauty of nature, just as the world he has shut out is experiencing a cataclysmic shift. The preoccupations that have galvanized him and his work fall away, and he becomes lost in memory and beauty. He also begins to tell us a story. And I won't go through the rest of it. I have spoken about this book before. But yeah, this I think will be an interesting one. And I'm hoping to get to it in the early weeks of October. The next two I've chosen that I would like to read are part of my trying to read some more classics. So I, at the beginning of this year, signed up to several challenges on the Storygraph. Basically, a challenge is just where somebody puts together prompts and you then are choosing books that meet those prompts. So the classics challenge that I signed up for has prompts that will be met by these next two books. But I've specifically wanted to read them in October because October is spooky month, with Halloween coming up at the end of the month. So I've chosen two kind of like horror / spooky types of books that I'd like to get to. So the first one is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I'm not going to tell you about the synopsis of these books because they're classics, so most of us already know all about them. So I'm hoping to get to Frankenstein in this month, and to hopefully, because I have never read it before, and I definitely want to have read it. So that's one that I'm hoping to get to. And the other spooky book is Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. And this is the edition that is edited by Carmen Maria Machado, who I've read from in the past. And also there's a foreword by her at the beginning of the book as well. So Carmilla is actually quite a short story. And you can see this is quite a skinny book. However, a good chunk of this is forward. So the actual story of Carmilla is quite short. But this is the first vampire novel that we know of in existence. And it's also a sapphic love story. Love, I don't know. I'll find out as I read it whether it is a love story, but romance, shall we say. A sapphic romance is part of the story. And yeah, I think, so originally it was serialized from 1871 to 1872, and there have been lots of adaptations, but I didn't really find out about it until relatively recently, like in the last couple of years. So I've been interested to read it, and I very specifically wanted to read this edition, first of all because it's gorgeous, but second of all because I wanted to read this forward by Carmen Maria Machado, who I have great respect for as an author herself. So that's my other book that I'm hoping to get to in October. I'm sure there will be other ones as well. Behind me is my reading trolley with a whole bunch of other books that I would like to get to before the end of the year, some of which I and I will link up in the cards the video where I talked about what I'm hoping to get to before the end of the year, and you'll be able to see all of those books if you are interested in that. But some of them I have specific times that I want to read them. There's one that's set at Christmas time. I want to read at Christmas time, for example. But other ones are just ones I'm just trying to get to before the end of the year. So I'm trying to be really purposeful with my reading as we conclude this year. So yeah, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get through a good chunk of books in October. So I'll be expecting that at least some of the books that are on my trolley behind me will also make it into my wrap up for this month that's coming, which I will record at the end of the month. So yeah, look out for that. So yeah, that's it for now. These are the 4 that I'm hoping to read, and I look forward to being able to talk to you about them when I do my wrap up. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.